all the time. That's why I don't do social media.
All right. Hey everyone, welcome to Advent Member Talks, our weekly event that features a different Advent member on the topic of their choosing. My name is Sam, my pronouns are they, them, and I'm the Member Experience Manager at Advent Co-working, a creative co-working community, event space, podcast studio, wellness center, art gallery, but of course, most importantly, a community. I am so excited today because we have the wonderful Erin with us, one of my favorite people, who's going to be talking to us all about debunking media myths. So I think this is really important for all of us businesses out there trying to navigate just all of the algorithms and the connections and just so many different things. So I love this event. I love that we get to promote our members and learn more about our members' skills and share that not only with the Advent community, but with the greater Charlotte entrepreneurial community. So if you have any questions for Erin throughout the talk, please go ahead, put those in the comments, and we'll do a short Q&A at the end. So Erin, I will hand it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. You're one of my favorites too.
Oh my gosh.
We'll have a little love fest. Well, hello, virtual digital world. Great to have y'all joining me today. So a little bit about me. I'm a small business owner. I'm the CEO and head mermaid of Blue Tide Creative, which is a boutique public relations firm that specializes in media relations, focuses on content strategy for clients, making sure that their messaging matches their mission, and just helping out with overall strategy when it comes to getting themselves or their product out to either their potential audience, consumers, or even in this case, as we're going to talk about, the media. So I'm going to dive in a little bit of just, some of the three biggest myths that are out there about, why the media doesn't like me or why am I not getting coverage. And the reason I picked this topic is because I think it's very important right now. As we know, 2020 for all of us, I'm sure whatever your goals and intentions that you set in January are very different than what is happening right now. But that just because things are different doesn't mean that you can't get press or get publicity for your business. I'm going to go through some of this stuff, and of course, with my business, I'm a very big advocate of getting somebody to help you with strategy. As my dad always said, if there's somebody who that's their specialty, why are you going to try to do it? If somebody is a plumber by trade, why are you going to try to, redo your pipes in your house by yourself based on a YouTube video? So of course, I always say consult a professional, even if it's just an hour strategy call. But I do want to say that there is opportunity for cost-conscious entrepreneurs and solopreneurs to present themselves and to pitch themselves to the media in a way that will be cost-effective for them. So during this presentation, I'm going to talk about the myths, but also some things that you as an entrepreneur can do to present yourself and pitch yourself to the media that is cost-effective. So one of the first things I always ask a client of mine is, what happens if the world sees you? And it's such a small statement, but it kind of gets them kind of like, well, what do you mean if the world sees me? Of course, the world's going to see me. I have a website, I have this. But are you actually presenting yourself and your specialty to the world? Sometimes we as entrepreneurs get so bogged down in the minutia of what we're doing that we forget to tell our own stories, that we forget to talk about the problem that our company or that we ourselves are here to solve for others. So I always like to say that, to keep that in mind with anything that we're about to talk, is that first and foremost, you need to be your own advocate when it comes to telling your story, because if you don't tell your story, someone else is going to tell it for you, or someone's going to assume they know your story based on an old website that you haven't updated in 2 or 3 years type of thing. So getting into this, the first myth, I have to say, is based on a movie that was very popular in the 80s and still really cute to this day. But from Field of Dreams, we got the saying of, if you build it, they will come. This saying has gotten, not only has gone past the Hollywood realm, but has kind of taken a part in and become ingrained in entrepreneurship, where people think, oh, I've got this great concept, I'm going to present it to the world. Ta-da, here I am. I'm going to get all this media coverage, everything like that, and nothing happens. And I've seen people who they'll do a big splash on social media. They will tag every local, regional, national publication that they want to be featured in. They'll tag their social media handle on it. They'll do their website. They'll do all this. They'll do a launch. And then they're like, why am I not getting any media hits? And I like to say one of the things with that of kind of keeping in the back of your mind is, if you are tagging a lot of these publications, whether it is a print publication, digital publication, TV station, a podcast that you want to be featured on, if you're tagging them, keep in mind that the person who's running their social media may not be the person that's actually running their editorial calendar, or may not be an editor or a decision maker when it comes to stories that are featured. So you might just be tagging and somebody is sitting there managing the account and like, oh, here's another tag, here's another tag. The second thing to keep in mind when you're doing your, if you have a strategy, is that the people that you want to get in front of, writers, reporters, podcasters, producers, whoever your targets are, keep in mind that they're a real person. And as we've seen in 2020, you don't know day to day what's going to happen with the news. A breaking story can happen. As we saw today, Governor Cooper here in North Carolina gave a press conference and enacted a curfew. So there are things that are going to take precedent over what you're doing, even though you think it's really, really important. And also, people want to feature you. It's just they might have like 14-hour days and they're researching so much, or something else happens. So they don't always have the opportunity to find those, if you build it, they will come opportunities. Now, with that being said, there is another movie that I think we should all keep in mind to debunk that myth, and it is Jerry Maguire. You're probably thinking the quote about "show me the money." No, you're incorrect. The quote that we're going to talk about is "help me help you." And that's such a big part of media relations. The last word of media relations is building a relationship. And in most cases, a relationship is two parties that benefit. It's not just one-sided. Well, if you're lucky, it's not one-sided. It should be two-sided, and with everybody getting kind of something out of the relationship. So help me help you. And this is a great tip if you are trying to do this on your own, that this is a great opportunity to either write a press release or write an intro email to different people in the media that you want to target or that you think would write about you. A big tip here is know the beat that they are covering. If you are creating something on technology that might be a fit for, lifestyle or culture, that's something that could happen. But if, most of the time you really want like someone who is an innovative technology beat reporter. So take a second and research who you're sending information to. Also, if you send them, as we mentioned earlier, they're busy. If you send them a huge email with 7 paragraphs, they're going to delete it before they read it. So make sure if you're sending something to introduce yourself or your product or your company, remember the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Put that in there and let them know why they should be considering you. Also, bullet points are your friends and the friends of those who are reading it. Help them help you, because they want to cover, right now we're seeing, there's so much going on in the world. Reporters and editors and producers are wanting content. They want to feature you. You just have to make it a little bit easy for them to understand what you're doing and why their audience would want to hear from you in the first place. Because at the end of the day, a writer, their primary goal is to put content out that their target audience wants to hear. So again, give them the information, make it easy on them, and tell them why you should be featured. So the other myth that I hear a lot about is that you have to spend a lot of money to get coverage. This is not true at all. And if you've talked to somebody or a PR person who is telling you you have to have this huge sponsor budget or paid content budget, you might want to look at hiring somebody else. There's a time and a place for paid opportunities. So there's two types of media that we really talk about. One is paid, and the other is organic. Sometimes I like to say it's authentic, but each has a place. And I do think that there is a place for paid media. So with that, you want to look at if you want to have total control over the message. There's some outlets that will let you not only kind of fix what the content is about, but will write it yourself. So if you are a strong writer, or if someone on your team is a strong writer, this could be an option for you because you can craft and shape it to get the information out about your company. And, you'll have more control over that. Now, organic media, and this is where I really encourage either having like a strategy session or just working and really honing down on how you want to present yourself to the media, because this is just building up relationships and getting people to know you. Whether it's podcasters that you want to be on a show, or producers you want to be on a TV show, this is your opportunity where you just need to let them know who you are, what you're doing, what your business is all about. And identifying, this is really big, is some people think strategy is a 4-letter word. It's really not. But if you want to go out and pitch yourself, as we've already kind of mentioned, figure out the publications you want to be in, figure out the people that you want to contact, the people that are covering the beat that matches what your business is all about, and really come up with maybe 2 to 3 ideas based on articles that they've done that are very similar to the business that you're doing, that you can say, hey, I saw the article you wrote on, July 15th about this topic. I just want you to know that my business, we've just launched this product, which answers one of the questions that you had in that article. It shows them that you're paying attention, and it also shows them that you pay attention to the space that you're in. You're not just, here's a product, you want to make a ton of money, here we go. Like, you actually pay attention to what you're doing and can be a valuable resource for them moving forward. So then now going into the third myth. The third myth is really the big one, which is the media doesn't like me. I've heard this so often. I've heard, people where they're like, oh, well, we, pitched all these different outlets, and, we did social media and we tagged everybody, and we did paid, things, but we're not getting organic stories based off of what we've done in the past few months. And it's just, all this money that they've thrown at things, they're not getting traction. The media doesn't like me. So this is the hardest thing I think I can tell anybody. And so I'm going to tell you this as nicely as I can, but I'm going to tell you that it's not always about you. And that is the biggest part to remember. And so much of this is it's not about you. You got to remember that the person that you're reaching out to and talking to on the other side is a human. And it's 2020, and it's been a wild year, to put it mildly. As I mentioned, there's going to be breaking news constantly. Somebody may be sick. Somebody may have a family member that's been sick. Beats change depending on what's going on in the world. And sometimes it has nothing to do with you. They most likely want to cover you and what you're doing. It's just other things are going on. So then it goes back to what we talked about earlier, is if you're going to pitch yourself, make it as succinct and easy to understand as possible. Bullet points are your friend. And really just remember that at the end of the day, it's not just an anonymous, name that you're reaching out to, that there's a person behind that. And I guarantee you, it's not that they don't like you. It's just that there's stuff going on. And I have a great example of this. I had this brilliant story in March with a client I was working on. They had purchased this historical building and gone through all this process to keep it as historically accurate as possible, because it was on not only local registrar, but like a national historical registrar as well. And they had done all this stuff and it was just great ideas, and media and I pitched it and they were like, this is a great story. And then that was March. So we know what happened in March. Then things started shutting down and we learned about something called coronavirus, COVID-19. This story, it was great. It was awesome. We had to put it on hold. We put it on hold for 4 months and then we finally got coverage. So even if there's things going on and you know you have a good story, keep at it and keep reminding them that you're there. So that's 3 myths debunked, a few free tips, and that's what I got for you today.
Awesome. Thank you, Erin. I don't know how you've managed to like get all that content and like these really 3 important like points within 20 minutes.
It's talent. I know. I was sitting here and I was like, I had all these notes and I was like, oh, I can tell them about this. And I was like, no, we'll keep it just to the 3 core and then just kind of go from there. So thank you for noticing that was a lot in a short amount of time.
Absolutely. I really love that, like that one note about like, it's not always about you. That's just so important to remember, especially now that it's like, we're all humans and we're all struggling. So
exactly. We're all humans. We're all struggling. And honestly, at the end of the day, like media, they want content. I mean, think about, you have people who are writing daily, you've got weekly podcasts, you've got daily TV shows. Like there's so much need for content, but today's a great example. You and I talked before we came on this. I was going to be on a TV segment for local station QC at 3. I got bumped because the governor came in. So, it had to make that announcement. So it just happens. It's nothing malicious. It can all be fixed. It's fine.
it's so true. So we have a few questions. If anyone else has a question, please feel free to comment it. My cat Scorpion is here.
I was going to say, there he is. That's my favorite. That's my boy right there.
Well, we have a comment from Josie. The media doesn't like you. The media doesn't even know you.
It's true. It's true. That's basically the truth. They just don't know who you are, that you're there.
Well, we have another question here, and well, we have a question here. So from Charlotte, I love the emphasis on the relations part of media relations. If your resources are limited, is it advisable to cultivate a relationship with just one writer who covers your business beat, or does that limit your audience?
I think that's a great idea. If you're, especially if you're doing it yourself, a great example, I'll just throw an example. Like if you want to be in the Charlotte Business Journal, or whatever city or wherever you're at, you want to be in a business journal, because that's going to be the target audience for you. Absolutely look and see who's covering real estate or whatever, innovation and technology, whatever the topic is. And yeah, if you start off and build that one relationship with that reporter, then when they have other stories that come in, they can reach out to you and ask you to be like a source for them, like an expert source. So I think that's a great way if you're doing it on your own. Just focus. If you don't want to be in these, like it's the business journal or whatever it is, then absolutely hone in on that and build that relationship.
Yeah, and I'm sure I don't know, I'm not a media person, but I'm sure a lot of journalists and, all those folks have a lot of people reaching out to them, always trying to, kind of do this tactic. Is there a best practice or most authentic way to start building relationships and sustainable relationships with folks in the media?
I think probably one of the best tips I got when I was starting off right after college. Oh gosh, actually it was an internship. I got this tip. Media don't always hear the good from people. Like they'll hear oh, that story sucked, or how did you get to be a writer? You can't write. Like people, especially now, can hide behind, their handles and say some really horrible things. I think and this is what I learned in an internship, is if you reach out and say, you're sending something to John, who at X publication or whatever, say, hey, John, I really liked the article you wrote about da 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 da. Because then that's showing them like, and you can put in like, I really liked how you emphasized this point, and by the way, and tie it into what you do. But immediately you're complimenting them, showing them that you've read what they're doing. But also, like, sometimes people just want to hear something good about what they've done. Like, people are working hard and want to know that it's just not all people sitting back there and being like, you suck, especially in the media.
I can imagine, absolutely. And kind of like the other side of that, we have a question, if you do notice that you've been covered inaccurately, or maybe even poorly by the media, is there a way to, or a best way to approach a media outlet or a writer to either correct information or just kind of mend, I don't know, relationships or bad press?
Oh yeah, because it's like I was saying, is if you're not telling your story, somebody else is going to tell it for you, and sometimes people will get information that's incorrect. First and foremost, always make yourself available if you know there's anything that you're working on that's going to be very appealing to the media, because if they can't get a hold of you to confirm something and they've got a 5 o'clock deadline, they're going to probably run something with whoever's quotes they were able to get. If something is run and it's incorrect information, truthfully, I mean, whatever people tell you about fake news, no, like a true reporter wants to make sure that they're presenting correct information. If a specific reporter, John, we'll bring back John from the last example, or it's something that's not accurate, follow up with him directly and say, hey, thank you so much for covering us. Did notice a few things were incorrect. Here it is. Is it possible to change that? And if it's digital, they can change it right away. If it's print, they won't be able to change it. They can print like an update in the next issue, and then they can update it digitally as well. So yes, if something is wrong, reach out to that reporter directly. They'll want to make sure that they're telling things correctly and not putting false information out there.
Yeah, that's great advice. So to switch to that myth number 2, about that money you have to spend.
That money.
Right. And it's true. There's a lot of ways to, not have to spend money. But how do you know when it's time to spend money?
Gotcha. I think this is something that whether people have a PR person or media relations person working with them, they can discuss and figure that out. A lot of it's going to boil down to what's in your budget. I do think, if I had to say for people, just like kind of sum it up for people doing it on their own, I do think if you have something that is coming out, like, the holiday season, this is great. If it's somebody who has an e-commerce shop and they have this new product that's perfect for stocking stuffers right now, absolutely see if you can do, social media boosting on Facebook, or, do sponsored on Instagram. I do think if you want an article written about you and you want it to, be accurate, I do think there's ways to have it done. Like, if you want to be in Forbes someday, you can absolutely pay to have an article written about you in Forbes. I think it just really boils down to your budget. So really get that in mind. And a lot of publications will have how much things cost on their media kit, which you can find on their websites. So then you can kind of factor that into your budget. And also, I think if there's something that you've tried organically to pitch and it's not getting information, but you want it to be covered, then that's something you can look at, and you can do a local publication. Or if you are based in Charlotte, but you've got a product and you're doing great in Charlotte, but you really want to target like Greenville, South Carolina, or Atlanta, reach out to the publications there, and maybe you can do a sponsored post, or even a sponsored Instagram, Facebook post with a publication. Digital is still very big, and social media is king. So, you can put that out there as well. I think it really just boils down to budget and what you want to be known for. Because also keep in mind, people are going to see at the top of an article or see at the top of Instagram or Facebook post that it's been sponsored. So just keep in mind of if you want people to see that going forward.
Gotcha. We somehow only have 2 minutes left, but I know time flies when you're having fun with Erin.
I could talk about this all day.
Let's do it. Hold on, everyone. Here we go. So just that first one, real quick, if you build it, they will come. Do you have any like quick notes for folks on their story sharing? Like, what should you be including in your story? How best can you do that? Really, easy question for our amount of time left.
Oh yeah, I know. I was going to say, I was like, oh, 2 minutes for that. Okay, cool. No, I think the thing to always remember is whether you have built a product, built a company, however it is, you're totally in the weeds with it. And sometimes it's really hard to pick your head up out of that. And that's not bad. It's just because you know every little bit of minutia that went into building that business or that product. And so when you talk about it, sometimes you're going to lose people because you're just going into too much stuff. Think of it as an elevator pitch. You have 30 seconds, not even that anymore, to make an impression. How can you tell the story of your company in 2 sentences or less? How can you tell that? So I think if you build it, they will come, whether you're putting it on your website, whether you're putting it in bullet points for your own pitch to the media. Captions are huge. We're seeing a lot of people now on social media who are making captions almost like blog posts, and they're huge and it's hard to read. How can you get it above that line before people have to click the more, the dots to get to the more function? It's basically the biggest thing I'll tell anybody about this is how can you tell your story so that somebody who's never used your product, never heard of you, will understand at the end of a minute, 2 minutes, what you do.
I love that. Well, Erin, thank you so much for your time and for all this wonderful information. If folks want to learn more about you, get in touch, how can they do that?
Absolutely. Please reach out to me. You can find my information at my company. The website's bluetidecreative.com. You can email me directly at erin@bluetidecreative.co. All those comms were gone. So get me at .co, and you can follow me on the socials, either personally at Erin Breeden or through Blue Tide Creative.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much to everyone who's joined us today, and for folks who may watch later. If you're an Advent member and you haven't ever given a member talk, or maybe it's been a while, reach out to me. We would love to promote you. We would love to learn more about the work you do. And you can always check out our YouTube channel, Advent Co-working videos, to see what other members have been talking about. So thank you, Erin.
Thank you.
Yeah, and everyone remember, stay home 10 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Wear your mask.
Wear your mask. What is it? Wait 6 feet and
support local art and small businesses.
Yes, I feel like there's a third W, but
wash your hands.
Wash your hands the most. Oh Lord. All right. Well, good night from me and Scorpion here. Hope y'all take care.
Thank y'all.